Hello and welcome to a new English story for intermediate learners. Today you will follow Emily and Michael in New York City during the 1990s, a noisy, bright, and musical decade. This story is about love, time, and a song that becomes a memory. As you read, you will practice natural English with clear sentences, useful vocabulary, and short dialogues that sound real. Imagine a small bar hidden on a quiet street in Manhattan. The sign outside is old, the lights are warm, and the air smells like coffee and rain. Inside, there is a piano with a few scratches and a microphone that has heard many broken hearts. People come to listen, to forget, or to begin again. Here, music is not just sound. It is a language for feelings that words cannot hold. Our main characters are Emily and Michael. Emily has a notebook full of lyrics and a voice that can rise like morning light. She dreams of a stage, not for fame, but to tell the truth about love. Michael is a shy pianist who plays in bars at night. He believes a melody can heal what life breaks. When they meet, their songs begin to fit together like two lines of the same poem. In this lesson story, we will focus on vocabulary from music and emotions. You will see these words many times, in context, so they become part of your voice in English. Stage, where performers stand. Performance, a show or act of playing, singing melody. The main musical line. Lyrics, the words of a song. To heal, to make better, to recover. Memory, something you remember. Farewell, a goodbye, often emotional. Learning tip, when you meet a new word, read it, say it aloud, and then use it in a short sentence. For example, this melody helps me heal. Or, her lyrics are full of honest memories. This story will move slowly and clearly, like a calm song. It will guide you through moments of light and shadow, and it will show you how love can turn into art when time is short. If you are ready, take a deep breath. Open your ears to the music and the words, and step into the bar where Emily will sing the last song she writes. New York City in the 1990s was alive with music. From the subway stations to the rooftops, every corner carried a rhythm. The streets were busy, the nights were long, and people came from many places with dreams in their pockets. Emily was one of these dreamers. She was 23 years old, with bright eyes and a notebook always in her hands. Her notebook was full of unfinished songs. Some pages had only one line. Others had whole verses. Emily believed that words had power, but she also knew that without music, her lyrics were only half alive. She worked during the day at a small bookstore, arranging novels and poetry, but her real passion came alive at night, when she walked to bars where unknown musicians played. She never missed a chance to listen, to learn, and sometimes to sing when someone let her borrow the microphone. Michael was different. He did not dream of fame. He was 28, quiet, and usually hidden behind his piano. He had played since childhood, but he never spoke much about it. To him, music was not about applause. It was about survival. Each key he pressed was a way to heal a wound, to breathe again. Every night, Michael sat at the corner of a small bar called the Blue Lantern. The bar was not elegant, but it had a loyal audience. People came not for the drinks, but for the feeling that music could give. His melodies were soft and deep, like water moving under the surface. One rainy evening, Emily entered the Blue Lantern for the first time. She sat near the piano, listening carefully. The room was full of voices, but her ears followed only the melody. Michael's music was simple, yet it carried sadness and hope at the same time. Emily whispered to herself, "This is the sound I was looking for." That was the night their stories began to move toward each other. She had the words, and he had the music. Together, something new could be born. The rain outside was heavy, and the bar was full of people looking for warmth. Emily sat with her notebook open, listening closely to Michael's piano. The melody was gentle, almost like a conversation without words. When he finished the song, the room gave polite applause. Michael nodded but kept his eyes down, shy as always. Emily, however, felt her heart push her forward. She walked slowly toward the piano. "Excuse me," she said softly. "That was beautiful." Michael looked up, surprised. "Thank you," he answered. His voice was low, a little nervous. Emily smiled. "Do you always play here?" "Most nights," Michael said. "It pays the bills and keeps me sane." Emily laughed lightly. "I write songs, but I can't play the piano well. Maybe I need someone like you." Michael tilted his head. "You write lyrics?" "Yes," she said, holding up her notebook. "Words come to me, but they feel empty without music." Michael's eyes moved to the notebook. "Maybe your words and my melodies could work together." That night they spoke for hours. The bar became quieter, and only a few people stayed until closing. Emily told him about her dream to sing on a small stage, not for fame, but to tell honest stories. Michael confessed that he avoided stages. He felt safe behind the piano, hidden in the corner. "Music doesn't need a spotlight," he said, "but it needs a heart," Emily replied. They both laughed, realizing how different and how similar they were. When Emily finally left, she looked back at Michael. He was already cleaning the piano keys, but his small smile stayed with her. Outside, the rain had stopped. The streets of New York shined with reflections, as if the city itself knew that something had just begun. Over the next weeks, Emily returned to the Blue Lantern almost every night. Sometimes she ordered tea, sometimes just water, but she was always there, listening, writing, waiting for a chance to talk with Michael again. Slowly, their conversations became longer. At first, they spoke about music, favorite singers, old jazz records, the way lyrics can cut deeper than a knife. Then, they spoke about themselves. "I was afraid to sing when I was younger," Emily admitted one night. Michael raised an eyebrow. "Why?" "Because people laughed at me in school. They said my voice was strange. But when I sing alone, I feel free." Michael nodded. "Then sing for yourself first. The world can come later." One evening, Emily asked if she could try singing with his piano. Michael hesitated but agreed. She stood near the microphone, holding her notebook with trembling hands. Michael began to play a soft melody, and Emily followed with her voice. The room grew silent. Even the bartender stopped moving. Her voice was not perfect, but it was real, raw, emotional, filled with honesty. When the song ended, no one clapped at first. They were too touched. Then slowly, the bar filled with warm applause. Emily blushed, hiding her face behind her notebook. Michael simply smiled, the quiet pride of someone who had found the missing piece to his music. From that night, they practiced together. Emily wrote lyrics, and Michael shaped melodies around her words. They rehearsed in small apartments, in empty bars before opening, even in Central Park on sunny afternoons. The more they played together, the closer they became. Their laughter came easier, their silences were comfortable, and their eyes often met longer than necessary. One evening, after a rehearsal, Michael said softly, "Your words make my music alive." Emily looked at him and answered, "And your music gives my words a home." That was when both of them knew it was no longer just music. It was love, quiet and powerful, born between the lines of songs. Emily's voice was growing stronger, and her confidence too. Together with Michael, she was ready to try small performances outside the Blue Lantern. For the first time, she felt her dream was within reach. But one afternoon, while rehearsing, Emily suddenly stopped singing. She pressed her hand to her chest and sat down quickly. "Are you okay?" Michael asked, worried. I just feel a little tired," she whispered, trying to smile. Michael didn't believe her smile. A few days later, Emily visited a doctor. When she came back, her eyes were red. Michael was waiting outside her apartment. "What did the doctor say?" he asked carefully. Emily took a deep breath. "Michael, I'm sick. It's serious." His body froze. "What do you mean?" "It's my lungs. The illness is strong. The doctor said I don't have much time, maybe months." Michael felt the world fall silent. He wanted to deny it, to say it was a mistake, but Emily's trembling voice was too real. In the days that followed, their rehearsals changed. Emily still wrote lyrics, still tried to sing, but her energy was weaker. Michael played softer, as if his music needed to protect her. One night, sitting at the piano, Emily whispered, "I don't want my dream to die with me. I want to leave something behind." Michael held her hand. "Then let's write the most beautiful song you've ever imagined. A song that no one can forget." Emily smiled faintly. "The last song I will write." Their love grew stronger in the shadow of time. They knew every moment was precious. Every note, every lyric, every quiet evening together felt like a treasure. But inside both hearts, there was fear. Fear of goodbye. Fear of silence. Fear of a future without the other. It was the conflict they could not escape. Love was alive, but time was running out. Winter arrived early. The city wore gray skies and long nights, and Emily's breath became shorter. Still, She insisted on writing. She kept her notebook close, even beside the tea kettle, even by the window where she watched snow fall like quiet feathers. Michael brought a small recorder and set it on the piano. "We'll capture everything," he said. "Every idea, every line. Nothing will be lost." They began with a simple melody, 4 notes that rose and fell like someone learning to breathe again. Emily listened, eyes closed, then spoke softly. "It needs space, like an open door." Michael slowed the tempo and let the sound hang between notes. Emily wrote, "When the night grows thin and the city holds its breath, I will sing your name to keep the dark away." She looked at Michael. "Too heavy?" He shook his head. "Honest. Keep going." They tried different chords. Major felt too bright. Minor felt too dark. Finally, Michael found a shape in between, sad but warm. Emily smiled. "That's it. That's the room where our song lives." They worked in short sessions. When Emily coughed, they stopped. When her hands trembled, Michael held them, then pressed record again. The melody learned to walk. The lyrics learned to rest. One afternoon, sunlight slid across the keys like gold ribbon. Emily sat at the microphone, her voice breathy but steady. "Let's try a full verse," Michael said. Emily sang, "If I fade like winter light, don't close the door behind me. Keep the piano by the window. Let the melody remind me." Michael exhaled, surprised by his own tears. "You're writing a map," he whispered. "A map back to you." Emily nodded. "A farewell that doesn't disappear." They shaped a chorus simple enough to hold in one hand. Emily wanted words that a stranger could hum on the subway, words a friend could repeat in a quiet kitchen. After many tries, they chose, "Hold this song when I am gone. Let it live where we belong." Michael repeated the line on the piano, adding gentle harmony. The room felt larger, as if the walls were listening too. During a break, Emily leaned on the windowsill. "Promise me something," she said. "If I can't perform it, you will." Michael looked at her, fear and love mixing in his eyes. "I will. I promise." They returned to the bridge, the place where songs often tell a secret. Emily wrote slowly, careful with each word. "Not every story ends in light, but love can still be true. If silence takes my voice tonight, let the music speak for two." The line, "speak for two," stayed in the air. Michael played it again and again, letting the harmony climb one step higher each time. Emily listened, then touched the piano lid with a tired smile. "It heals," she said. "Your music heals." Night fell. Snow tapped the glass. They recorded a final take. Emily's voice was thin but bright, the kind that breaks and shines at the same time. Michael followed every breath, every pause, as if he were walking beside her in a slow dance. When the last chord faded, they didn't speak. The recorder's small red light stopped blinking. Emily closed her notebook and placed it on top of the piano. "It's finished," she said. Michael swallowed. "It's beautiful." Emily sat beside him on the bench. "It isn't just mine," she added. "It's ours, but after us, it belongs to anyone who needs it." He rested his head against hers. then it will never end. Emily took the notebook back and wrote the title on a clean page, "The Last Song I Wrote." Under it, she added a dedication, "For Michael, so the silence can sing." They turned off the lights except for one small lamp near the keys. In that circle of warm light, they promised nothing impossible, only this: to carry the song forward, note by note, heart by heart, until it found every listener who was waiting for it. The night of the performance came quietly, like a guest who removes his shoes at the door. The blue lantern was full, but the room felt gentle, almost sacred. Candles flickered on the small tables. Snow was melting outside, turning the streets into dark mirrors. Emily arrived early with Michael. She wore a simple black dress and a pale scarf. Her breath was short, but her eyes were bright, full of calm courage. The owner of the bar hugged her and said, "Whatever you need, we're here." She thanked him and sat near the piano, saving her strength. They decided to play only one song, the song. Emily wanted to sing it once, to leave her voice inside it, like a small light that never goes out. Michael checked the recorder and the microphone. He tuned the piano quietly, pressing each key with care, as if waking a sleeping friend. When the lights dimmed, the room fell silent. Michael walked to the piano. Emily stood by the microphone with both hands around it. She looked at Michael, and he gave her a simple nod. "We're ready." Michael began with the 4 opening notes, the melody that rose and fell like a fragile breath. The room leaned forward. Emily closed her eyes and followed the sound. Her voice was not loud. It didn't need to be. It was real, and that truth made it strong. When the night grows thin, and the city holds its breath, I will sing your name to keep the dark away. The words hung in the air. A woman at the front table wiped her eyes. The bartender stopped polishing a glass. Even the door seemed to pause between opening and closing. Michael kept the tempo slow, leaving space around each phrase. Emily rested between lines, then stepped into the chorus. "Hold this song when I am gone. Let it live where we belong." On the second verse, her voice trembled. Michael softened the chords and lifted her with a quiet harmony, like 2 hands guiding a tired dancer. Emily took a deeper breath and smiled at him before continuing. Then came the bridge, the secret part, the promise they had written together. Not every story ends in light, but love can still be true. If silence takes my voice tonight, let the music speak for 2. Michael felt the room breathe with them. He raised the harmony 1 step, then another, and Emily followed, not with force, but with clarity. The last chorus returned, simple as a prayer. She reached the final line and let it fall gently into silence. Nobody clapped, not at first. The silence was too full. Then, like rain after a long heat, the applause came, warm and endless. Emily lowered her head, grateful and tired. Michael stood up and held her hand. She whispered, "We did it." He whispered back, "You did." They recorded the performance. After the crowd faded, Michael helped Emily into a taxi. She leaned on his shoulder, and they listened to the city passing by. sirens far away, a bus sighing at a stop, snow turning to water. "Promise me," she said again, barely audible. "Play it for people who need it." Michael kissed her forehead. "I promise." Days turned into weeks. Winter loosened its grip on the city, but Emily's illness did not. One clear morning, Michael arrived at the hospital with a small speaker. He sat beside her bed and played the recording from the blue lantern. Emily listened with her eyes closed, a small smile resting on her lips. When the bridge came, her fingers moved in the air like they were pressing invisible piano keys. "Perfect," she whispered. "It speaks for us." That afternoon, with the soft chorus still echoing in the room, Emily fell asleep and did not wake. The nurse closed the window to keep out the cold. Michael stayed, holding the speaker in both hands, listening to those 4 simple notes that now felt like a door opening and closing. The funeral was small. Musicians from the bar came. The bookstore owner brought a flower and a folded page of poetry. Michael did not make a speech. He let the song speak in a quiet room, and people cried softly, not from darkness, but from the strange light that honest music can make. Afterward, Michael returned to the piano. He practiced every day, not to become famous, but to keep his promise. He played the song in small bars, in community centers, at hospital gatherings, sometimes even on a street corner when the weather was kind. Each time, he told the audience, this was the last song she wrote. Each time, the room changed. People listened more carefully to each other. Some held hands. Some forgave. Some called someone they had not called in years. The recording spread beyond the city. A radio host played it at midnight. A nurse in another state used it during a quiet ceremony in a hospital garden. A teacher shared it with students before they wrote their own goodbye letters to people they had lost. The melody traveled like a lantern passed from hand to hand. Michael kept Emily's notebook on top of the piano. The title page was worn from touch. The last song I wrote. Sometimes he opened it to the dedication, for Michael, so the silence can sing, and felt both the weight and the blessing of love that becomes music. On the anniversary of that night at the Blue Lantern, Michael returned to the same stage. The owner had placed a single candle on the piano. The room was full again, and the snow outside was turning to rain. Michael said only this, "Some songs end. The good ones continue in us." Then he played the opening notes, soft, faithful, alive. People in the audience closed their eyes. The melody moved through them. Emily's voice was not there in body, but it was present in memory, in courage, in the way strangers reached for each other's hands. Love had not defeated time, but it had learned to live inside it. And each time the chorus returned, "Hold this song when I am gone," it did what it promised. It kept the dark away. You have reached the end of the last song she wrote. This story followed Emily, a young singer with a brave dream, and Michael, a pianist who gave her words a home. Together, they created a song that carried love beyond time. Even when illness took Emily's voice, Her music continued to live in Michael's hands and in the hearts of everyone who listened. For English learners, this story gave you new vocabulary about music, feelings, and promises. You practiced words like stage, melody, lyrics, farewell, heal, memory. These words are not just for songs, they are for real life too. A stage can be a classroom, a meeting, or any place where you need to speak. A melody can be the way your voice rises and falls in English. Lyrics are like the sentences you create, honest and full of meaning. A farewell reminds us that every goodbye can hold love. To heal is what English practice does for fear and mistakes. And a memory is every word you keep from this lesson. Remember, learning English is like writing a song. You don't need perfection. You need courage, rhythm, and patience. Every new word is a note. Every practice is a verse. And one day, your English will become a song that others can understand and feel. So carry this lesson with you. Carry Emily's last song as a reminder. Love and learning can outlive time. Keep reading, keep listening, and keep practicing. Your voice in English matters. And just like Michael promised Emily, I promise you, if you keep going, your English will never fade.